Welcome along, everybody. Welcome to the stream. It is the Season 1 British and Hungarian Grand Prix tonight. It's going to be very rainy. It's going to be raining at Silverstone for qualifying and for the race. Battery turned off here as we come down off the hangar straight into snow. Through snow we go. Is it going to be enough to get us into Q2 as we come into the Vale chicane? Past the pit lane, through Vale, off of Vale, 33 seconds from Lance Silverston. Is it going to be enough? No, it's not. And we're going to start the race in dead last. Oh, 21st. We start 21st for the British Grand Prix. Couple of gearbox penalties. But a couple of grid spot penalties. Esteban Ocon with a 10th place grid spot penalty for a power unit component change, which moves us up to at least 20th in the wet. Half extra fuel, mainly because when it's raining, you burn off more fuel than in the dry. At least I do, because I get a lot of rear wheel spin, because, well, I suck at certain things, but we'll see what happens here. Let's set it up for you here. 104.3 kilograms of fuel in the tank. A one-stop strategy, mainly going from inters to full wets. 52 laps are to come. We're starting back in P20. Let's go. We get ready to go here. Esteban Ocon gets into his grid spot. Green flag is flying behind the field as we're all in line here and ready to go. And here come the lights. Here we go for the British Grand Prix. 5 lights are on and his lights out and away we go. We get a bad start, but we get alongside Jack Aiken as we come down to Abbey. We go over 3 wide on the run into Abbey. Whole bunch of spray. We almost get into the back of Lance Silverston as we come. We're all clear through Abbey as we come into Farm and in the Village. On the inside of the Racing Point, go to the inside of Kevin Magnussen through the loop, or through Village, and we're good to go. On the outside through the loop, and we're trying to get along the outside of Sebastian Vettel, and we hold station and we're good to go from the 4-time world champion. Up to 16th we go. On the run down the Wellington Straight for the first time. Back to standard on the engine power as we come into Brooklands, and we're good through. And we're good through Brooklands and Luffield. So standard on the engine power. Trying to pull away from Kevin Magnussen, and apparently we're all a lap down. Oh, apparently, they haven't gotcha. They haven't done the gaps yet because we're on the first lap. Everybody's a lap down from me. Huh. So Lance Silverston gets ahead of K-Mag. Chat's about to get turned back on once we get to the Wellington Straight. And we've caught back up to Vettel. Double proximity arrow from Lance Silverston. Half a second, the gap to K-Mag. Silverston to the inside through Cox. And he pushes us out wide, and we're trying to get ahead of the Pink Panther on the run into Maggots and Beckett's. It's still wheel to wheel as we come into Maggots, and we squeeze ahead of them. Early goings here of this British Grand Prix. So Silverston, the only run Silverston can get is on the run into Cops. He hasn't been able to get a good run other than through Cops. 3.3 now, the gap to Sebastian Vettel. We are running a whole hell of a lot better than we did in Barcelona. He's not the one that got me into the F1 games, though. That was Alex Gillen that got me into the F1 games, watching him. And here comes Silverston. Silverston to the inside into Cops. And can we hold it on the out? He makes contact and squeezes us out. Here comes Kevin Magnussen. And we stay into P17 here. George Russell is right on our ass as well, though. I think we're part of a huge train of cars. We could go P last here. So I think there's a bit of traffic in front. And we're about to try it. We're about on them. It's 2.1 to get to Sebastian Vettel here. Either don't turn enough or I turn too much. Double proximity errors from K-Mag. And we're trying to catch up to this train in front. And K-Mag trying to get by us. The 1.7 is the gap to Silverston in front. Sebastian Vettel's right there. I think we're starting to catch them again here. And we are. There's this long-ass train. One of the McLarens is way up ahead, right behind Daniel Ricciardo. And it's 8/10 the gap to Silverston in front as we come into Brooklands once more. Right on the back of this pack here. Field, and he goes around and he spins himself by getting into us.
Okay, clear.
And K-Mag is gone. Here comes George Russell. George Russell to the inside through Cops. And we stay ahead of George Russell. An unintentional consequence happened to K-Mag. As I go wide through left field, he goes to the inside. He bangs our side pod. So we're picking up about a tenth a lap from George Russell behind. Esteban Ocon cannot get a move done on George Russell at all, who's running in P19 at the moment. We're running in P17. We started in P20. Kevin Magnussen was battling us. He bumped into our side pod. He went a fly into the center of left field.
Car in front is
Or maybe it was Cops. And now we're no longer fighting, starting to pull away from the Williams behind. If you had 100% brake pressure in any previous year's games, you would never stop for a corner. And here comes Ocon. Ocon into Maggots. And we're going to be able to stay ahead of the freshman. He's going to get into us as we come into Beckett's, and we managed to stay ahead of Esteban Ocon, trying to stay in the P17 here. Meanwhile, 13-1 the gap up to Lance Silverspoon. As far as pretty much where it's supposed to be at. I don't even know where Kevin Magnussen is. Kevin Magnussen is back behind Charles Leclerc. Difficulty roulette. I was thinking about doing something with a dice. Actually, I was thinking about doing something, roll the dice and see how much on average. And as Ocon goes to the inside through Cops, and he's by us. There's nothing we can do about it. I was thinking about rolling dice and see how much above or below my average to be at. Ocon goes by us like we're staying still. George Russell coming up. Half a second back to George Russell while we're back into P18 now. There we go. Lean mix as we're going to come in to make our one and only stop unless we go onto the full wets. And we come down into the pit lane. And we get down 1 kilo. So out of the pit lane, out of Roman Grosjean corner we go. We are a lap down as of now. There's Alex Albon there. And now we've got more blue flags of death. Charles Leclerc right on us here. Pit stop's already going on. Sebastian Vettel's in for his stop. The 2 Williams continues on. We come into the pit lane. And now Sebastian Vettel is in, and he's out through Roman Grosjean corner and out into Farming Village. So Jack Aikens into the pit lane as we come down the hanger straight. Are we going to get... How far ahead will we be ahead of them as George Russell is in as well? And Sebastian Vettel gets ahead of George Russell. Roman Grosjean is in. for a stop, and I think Grosjean just came
Our
out.
gap behind is 15.8 seconds.
Yeah, always in the wet, Dutchman. So we get ahead of both George Russell and Jack Aiken. So Latifi is in. And we get into P18 ahead of Nicholas Latifi. And George Russell gets ahead of his teammate. 2.9 is the gap back to George Russell behind. But yeah, I'm quite slow. Hungary will probably be our lowest AI difficulty for the season. Most likely. Got a little bit of oversteer there.
Is 9.9 seconds.
So right around 10 seconds, there we go. Double digits now, the gap to Esteban Ocon. Double no man's land to Esteban Ocon in front. George Russell 2.6 seconds, the gap behind as we come through Vale, around the Vale chicane. We go around Club Corner to the line, and there are 20 laps to go here in race number 1 here tonight. So running P18 at the moment, 101 on the difficulty around Silverstone. That's where it was in the dry quali sim. That's where we're at.
Gap to teammate behind is 10.7 seconds.
With 10.7 the gap, 40 laps in. That means we've only been able to gain about 4/10 a lap on Jack Aiken. And we are starting to close the gap on Roman Grosjean. A little too late though. But we are starting to close the gap on Grosjean. Esteban Ocon 27 seconds up the road from the Frenchman.
0.2
So
seconds.
6.6, we can't even, no retirements around Silverstone so far. Will we see a retirement here in the final 6 laps of this Grand Prix? 7 seconds the gap to George Russell. 4.7 is that gap to Roman Grosjean in front. The weather continues on. And there are 5 laps remaining. We got yellow flags to Drew Maggots and Beckett's. Is that blue flags or is that retirement? We're off wide through Village because I'm so concentrated on the yellow flags. And I think it's just Kevin Magnussen. Kevin Magnussen letting cars by, no retirements. I had my hopes up that we'd see some I had my hopes up that we'd see somebody retire and we could get further up in the field, but of course not. Can't have any hopes. No hopes, no dreams. Lewis Hamilton wins the British Grand Prix. 9 seconds the gap back to George Russell. It's not a point finish, but it was decent nonetheless as we finish where the car's at, and we come home and we finish in P18 ahead of the two Williams and our teammate.
All right, race over. Take care.
We head off to Budapest next.